left off on part 2 where we completed the unboxing of the major components. Here we're going to continue with the assembly of the control panel board. I'm going to start with a 24 by 24 plywood board just to see how everything lays out and adjust that board size to a smaller dimension if I need be. But here I'm just kind of putting everything in place and seeing how it's going to flow as far as the cables from point A to point B to point C. What I have here is the arrangement that I'm going to try to wire up on my control board for my solar panel. What I have here, illustrations, are my two 100-watt solar panels fed by a 40-amp fuse going into my controller, and the connections on my controller are my battery sensor, my plus and minus connections for my solar panels, plus and minus connection for my batteries. Coming off of my sensor is my sensor that goes to the vicinity of my battery. Off of my battery I have a negative connection going to the battery and a positive connection going to the battery, and between that connection is going to be a battery cutoff switch, 100-amp fuse, and then a connection to my battery. Off my battery as well, I have a ground connection coming off my battery negative post. For my battery to my inverter, I have a negative going to my inverter. For my positive cable going to my inverter, I have again another cutoff switch, 100-amp fuse, and then from my inverter I'm coming off with my feeds to my loads, which is going to be my primary, which is going to be my LED lights, my 32-inch LED television, and switching. These are going to be hard connections here, which I'm going to try to keep permanent, but these are going to be on-off plug-in and plug-out switches for my infrared heater number 1, infrared heater number 2, and future miscellaneous low load connections. The intent here is, I got a comment from one gentleman, and just to make the clarification, is that my intent is not to try to connect all of these simultaneously at the same time, but to be able to switch plug in and plug out with all this complete wiring here. And I guess we can say that it consists of this area here. This is going to be my control panel, which is nothing no more than a plywood board. So my next step is try to configure if I can fit all of this within my board. This board right here is 24 by 24. What I want to do is see if I can cut this board down to 18 inches and see if I can get everything to fit on an 18 by 24 board. have the arrangement of my control board consisting of my inverter, my charger controller. I also have a inlet watt meter coming from my solar panels, my inline fuse. Connected to my inverter will be another inline fuse. I'm going to replace this fuse with a resettable type fuse like here. Also have a on-off switch between my inverter and my battery. Have a battery monitor, and in addition another watt meter, and finally my automatic transfer switch. Now my automatic transfer switch, I'm going to show you how I'm going to wire that up. Illustrated are my solar panels, my basic equipment for my solar system, my battery, inverter, all that's shown here. Also have my shore, which is my house current coming in to my workshop area. I'm showing my workshop area here, showing the lights and all the original lights and outlets, and also have a wall switch to turn off my power to my workshop here. In addition, I'm adding a junction box at this point to my ATS, automatic transfer switch. I'm also adding another wall switch, and how this is going to work is that normally I'm going to pull power off my solar panel. I'm going to split the lights and TV in my workshop area and have it dedicated to my solar equipment, and have all remaining outlets and auxiliary lights still continuously being fed off of my shore or house current. As the power drops down in my solar equipment, my ATS is going to sense that based on the loads for my light and TV, and it's going to automatically switch from my solar system to my shore system and continue to provide the lights and power to my lights and TV. Not affected by this will be my remaining outlets and miscellaneous lights that will continuously be fed off of my shore power through my wall switch. So in reality, for my garage area, I'm adding a new junction box, my ATS, which is shown here, a new wall outlet, in addition to all of my solar equipment. Keep an eye out for the upcoming videos as we continue to work on this workshop solar panel project.